Throughout the Assassin's Creed series, Ubisoft has put a lot of effort into the various historical settings, from the architecture to the people and their clothing, language, beliefs, and practices. In this video, we show you 10 times when Assassin's Creed games paid incredible attention to historical accuracy. Unlike most fictional portrayals, Assassin's Creed accurately portrays King Richard I, also known as Richard the Lionheart, with a French accent, since he spent the majority of his life in the Angevin territories of France and very little in England. He did not speak English fluently and mostly spoke French, which was also the language of government in England at that time. The landmarks in each city in Assassin's Creed games are meticulously researched and nearly identical to their real-life counterparts. Even changes that occurred later are sometimes noted. The best example is the Sistine Chapel ceiling. It lacks painting because Ezio arrived there in 1499, and Michelangelo did not start working on it until 1508. This attention to detail is pretty damn awesome. Before going further, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. It's a turn-based RPG with great graphics and artworks in which you collect characters, build and upgrade your team, and take part in various campaigns and missions. To download Raid to your phone or PC, use the links below. Here's a quick look at the first faction you beat, the Banner Lords. They are basically medieval knights with a massive kingdom. When we meet them, they've seriously lost their way. They've just started a war with their old allies, the High Elves. And rumor has it that their once good king Taiba has succumbed to the influence of a growing shadow. Here's a look at a pretty cool Banner Lords champion. Raid always has a lot going, and this month is no different, with lots of new champions and content coming out. There is also a new edition of the Tomb Tower mode in the game. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is to hit the link in the description, and you will get an epic hero, Shonoru, who is amazing in the Doom Tower. 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. Now, let's get back to the video. In the Assassin's Creed 2 scene, where Leonardo da Vinci is working on the blueprints for his flying machine, he writes from right to left with his left hand. This is a small but pretty accurate detail, as Leonardo not only wrote with his left hand, but he also mirrored his writing, starting at the right side of the page and moving to the left. He also drew with his left hand, and seemed to write with his right hand only when he intended the text to be easily read by others. In Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Lucrezia Borgia has dark roots in her otherwise bright blonde hair and dark eyebrows. This is because real Lucrezia's blonde hair was not natural. Everyone else in her family had dark hair. Lucrezia turned her hair golden by rinsing it in lye and lemon juice and then drying it out in the sunlight for most of the day. The longer it was exposed, the lighter it would become in color. This process took so long that she had to cancel several trips to wash her hair. A lock of Lucrezia's bright blonde hair is still kept in Milan's Ambrosian Library. The subtitles for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag capitalize all nouns, as this was common practice in the 17th and 18th centuries, and spell out certain words like awful as awful to represent language drift. The Animus mission recaps are also written in the same style as those found in books of this era. These are not only cool historically accurate details, but they are also nods to the game's main reference, a general history of the pirates. There were some complaints that Rogue has penguins despite being set in the north because penguins are birds of the south. However, the birds in Rogue are not penguins, but rather great auks, which went extinct in the 19th century. It's not surprising that someone looking at a great auk might mistake it for a penguin. Except for its massive beak, an auk looks very much like a penguin, but despite their many similarities, these birds are not related. There is also a geographical discrepancy. Penguins are birds of the southern hemisphere, whereas great auks are birds of the north. There is an interesting and little known fact about the name penguin. Although this name is now exclusively used to refer to the southern birds, it was not originally applied to them. The great auk was, in fact, the original penguin. It's fascinating to see the original penguin revived digitally. Big props to the Assassin's Creed Rogue team for doing this. Assassin's Creed Origins successfully predicted the location of a previously unknown hidden chamber inside the Great Pyramid of Giza by using French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin's theory about how the structure was built and consulting him during development. Just a few days after the game's release, scientists discovered the chamber predicted by Houdin and by extension the game. The game's developer believed that Houdin's theories about the inner ramps and royal circuit with two antechambers inside the Great Pyramid were the most credible, which is why they decided to use them in the game. This level of detail is very impressive. The seer in Memphis performs a ritual to protect a pregnant woman with a birth tusk. Birth tusks are apotropaic wands used to ward off evil, mainly from the Middle Kingdom of Egypt. The fact that Assassin's Creed team included this historically accurate and obscure piece of Egyptian religious paraphernalia in the game is impressive. But what's more impressive is that the tusks are decorated on both sides with deities connected with mother and childbirth. This is again a historically accurate detail. Adrestria's ability to drift is more than just a fun gameplay feature. Greek triremes were capable of pulling off a similar stunt in battle. In Origins and Odyssey, the joint surfaces of Greek column drums have a large square hole in the middle. This square hole is period accurate and is for an Empoleon, one of two wooden blocks into which a round wooden centering peg was inserted to align the drums perfectly. So, there you have it. 10 historically accurate details in the Assassin's Creed games that you probably didn't know about. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more Assassin's Creed content.